What's good, Panther Nation? It's your boy Myron McRae, aka Tornado McRae, across the skywars of the internet, here with another episode of Panther Pride TV, your one-stop shop for all your Panther notifications and your Panther obligations. Hope all of y'all are having a fantastic Wednesday. Hope your day is going smooth. Hope everything has been going to your liking in this work week. Hope everything's been going all right. And guys, we are going to get into today's docket because a couple things, again, always cross my feed. They always cross my timeline, or they're sent to me by some of y'all. So we're going to go ahead and get to it. And the first thing that came across my timeline, and I do want to address and highlight, is our Mr. Irrelevant for this year's draft in Jimmy Horn Jr. Because for those of you who don't know, if y'all don't know why I call him Mr. Irrelevant, because every year the last person taken in the draft is called Mr. Irrelevant. So this year, our version of that would be Jimmy Horn, because he was our final pick, the 6th round pick at pick 208. Now, the thing I've been seeing a lot of, and obviously we have to ask the question, how much potential or how relevant will Jimmy Horn be in this Carolina offense, in this Carolina scheme in general? And personally, I think he's going to be a valued asset and a weapon to be utilized like throughout all its entirety. But let's look at his college stats when you think about it. So in 46 games, mind you, if you don't know, Jimmy Horn played 2 seasons at University of South Florida before transferring his final 2 years at University of Colorado to play with Deion, Shedeur, Shiloh, Travis Hunter, and the rest of that company. And in his 4 years total of his career, in 46 games, the man has 1,967 receiving yards. He has 162 receptions, 11 touchdowns, and was averaging 42.8 yards a game. And what's even crazier is that he was actually doing a lot of special teams work, especially in South Florida, and was named the first team All-American Athletic Conference kick returner in his sophomore season. So it goes to show how much of a weapon he is. And when I look at Jimmy Horn and I look at everything he's capable of, as a receiver, phenomenal. Capable receiver, can hold his own, knows how to separate, good hands. He knows how to sit in a zone when you need him to sit in a zone. Phenomenal. But also as a kick returner and a specialist, the kid is good there too. He is very fast. He honestly ran the fastest, I want to say, it was a shuttle time or a drill, and he had the fastest in combine history. It eludes my name, but I know some of you in the comment section are going to know what drill I'm talking about in that news that dropped. And I just feel like he is going to be a valued weapon. He could take the top off of defense if you need him to run the streak, a go route, run up the seam, but also as a kick returner, being able to hit that edge and hit that hole and just burst through to take it back to the house. So in my mind, when I look at Jimmy Horn Jr., I genuinely think he's going to be utilized as a kick returner first. Kind of how Steve Smith was, because we all know Steve Smith's first touchdown with Carolina was as a kick returner. And so I think he's going to be utilized as a kick returner first before he gets a lot more playing time in the wide receiver rotation. And the only reason I say that is because you have the tight end room. You have Leggett. You have McMillan. You have Thielen. You have Coker. Unless we're going 5 wide, no tight ends, it doesn't seem like Horn's going to be there to start. Now, Horn will get some PT. And you know what? He may beat out Coker for the spot. I don't know. Because I'm just here. I'm just a skinny brother with 2 tats. Y'all know me. But I genuinely think Jimmy Horn will start his career as a kick returner. He will be versatile. He will be dynamic. And he will show the world what he's capable of. And once he's done that, he will earn PT in the main receiver rotation and will be dynamic and versatile there. It is going to be phenomenal. But speaking of receivers, this next one kind of caught my attention a bit, and I want y'all to see this. So the question that was posed for the room is, was Dan Canales to blame for Xavier Leggett's struggles in his rookie year last year? Now, that's kind of a weird question to ask, but let's see how this is where it happened. So here's what happened. NFL.com's Mark Ross was in an article on the Sporting News. And he had this to say about Dan Canales because he blames Canales for not deciding on the Bryce Young over Andy Dalton QB battle as the reason why Xavier Leggett struggled. So here's what he had to say in this quote. He says, Leggett had a slow start to his NFL career, catching 49 passes for 497 yards, 4 touchdowns last season. Some of those struggles can be tied to his own growing pains. He had 8 drops on 81 targets, according to Pro Football Focus. But he also had to navigate the quarterback shuffle between Bryce Young and Andy Dalton early in Dave Canales' first season leading the Panthers. And he follows it up with this second half of the quote. Canales recently said he believes Carolina has a DK Metcalf-like talent in Leggett, who had foot surgery this offseason, but was cleared to resume work in early April, and that having a full offseason alongside Bryce, who took a significant step forward in 2024, could lead to a breakout result in 2025. I anticipate it will also help that Carolina invested another first-round pick in wide receiver Arizona's Tetairoa McMillan to complement Leggett in the passing game. Now, I say all that to say this. Truth be told, I can't blame Canales for that. I can't blame Canales in regards to having to decide on Bryce or Andy and essentially the QB battle, because honestly, Bryce was struggling, and we all know that. And had he gone, Canales had to do what he had to do as a head coach. He made a decision. He stuck with it. He had to do what he had to do because of where Bryce was at that time. And if we're being honest, had Bryce continued at that trajectory that he was on before he got benched, Xavier Leggett's numbers would have looked worse. They genuinely would have. Everybody's numbers would have looked worse, because when you look at it, this was Bryce before the bench, bro. Remember, game 1, 13 of 30, 43 completion percentage, 161 yards, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Game 2, 18 of 26, 69.2 completion percentage, nice. 84 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception. So because you're sitting there, now you're like, oh man, this is not good. What does Canales do? Canales says, you know what, I'm going with the vet. I'm going with the vet to help us through the middle part of the season. And the red rocket appears. And look at what Dalton put up. His first game out the gate, 26 of 37, 70.3% completion, 319 yards, 3 TDs, 0 INTs. He came out the gate swinging. Game 4, 62.5% on 25 of 40, 220 yards, 2 TDs, 1 INT. Game 5, 18 of 28, 64.3 completion, 136 yards, 0 TDs, 1 INT. And then as you see with Game 6, he went 26 of 38, 68.4 completion, 221 yards, 2 TDs, 2 INTs. And then Game 7, Andy Dalton's last game as a starter, 11 of 16, 68.8 completion percentage, 93 yards, 0 TDs, 2 interceptions. So, when you look at that, you're like, all right, Andy was starting to regress towards the end of it. And at that time, that's when it was time for Canales to go back to Bryce. Granted, the car accident did, unfortunately, I'm sad that Andy was in a car accident, but that opportunity allowed Bryce to come back. And when he did, Alabama Bryce, the guy that we saw, the guy that was picked number 1 overall, he showed up. Out the gate, 24 of 37, 64.9% completion percentage, 224 yards, 2 TDs, only 2 interceptions. Game 9, 16 of 26, 61.5 completion percentage, 171 yards, 1 TD, 1 INT. Game 10, 15 of 25, 60% completed, 126 yards, 1 TD, no picks. Game 11, 21 of 35, 60% completion, 263 yards, 1 TD, no interceptions. And then game 12, and this was against Kansas City, mind you, 26 of 46, 556.5 completion percentage, 298 yards, 1 TD, no interceptions against the Kansas City Chiefs. So when you're looking at it and you're thinking about that, bro, did the switch at QB play an effect on Xavier Leggett's numbers? Yes, it did. We're not going to sit there and say it probably didn't because he got in a rhythm with one guy and then another. But I'm not going to blame Dave Canales for doing what he had to do and making the right decision when he needed to. Because a lot of people were calling for Bryce's head, and honestly, Bryce wasn't playing like a number one pick at the time. So he did what he had to do. And because of that, yes, other people were affected, including Xavier Leggett, but that's the name of the game. I don't blame Dave Canales for Xavier Leggett's struggles, because when Xavier Leggett first came onto the scene and was really catching the passes, he was on a roll. But then the second half of the season, he was starting to have more drops than we would have liked. So I don't think it's right to blame Canales and say, oh, he's the reason because he couldn't choose to go with Bryce sooner. Nah, he chose the right time to go back to Bryce. And Leggett was just collateral damage, but it wasn't the end-all, be-all. I'm not personally blaming Canales for that. And then lastly, guys, you might have already seen it, but I accidentally slipped it. But I saw Yahoo News, or Yahoo Sports, actually dropped a strength of schedule ranking today on the entire league. And I'm curious if y'all want to see what Carolina's strength of schedule is going into this season. Now, mind you, remember, these are the opponents on our schedule. For our home games, like we said, New Orleans, Atlanta, Tampa. We know that. Then we got Miami, Dallas, the Rams, Seattle, and Buffalo. Then as our road games, New Orleans, Atlanta, Tampa, and then New England, Arizona, San Francisco, the Jets, the Jaguars, and Green Bay. So, with those being our opponents and with everything being said, what did Yahoo say about our rankings? Here is the strength of schedule, and this is going from easiest to hardest. Keep that in mind. So the number 1 is going to be the easiest, 32 is going to be the hardest. On our strength of schedule, they have San Francisco 1, New England 2, New Orleans 3, Atlanta 4, Buffalo 5, Jacksonville 6. Carolina is 7th at the 7th easiest schedule, with Tennessee 8, Miami 9, Tampa Bay 10. So out of the NFC South, they're saying Tampa Bay has the hardest schedule. And then it finishes up with Arizona 11, Indianapolis 12, Seattle 13, Denver 14, the Chargers 15, the Jets at 16, Cincinnati 17, Las Vegas 18, Washington 19, Rams at 20, Baltimore 21, Dallas 22, Green Bay 23, Pittsburgh 24, and then Houston's 25, Chicago's 26, Kansas City's 27, Minnesota's 28, Philly is 29, Detroit is 30, and then Cleveland is 31, and the Giants are 32. Now, I'm going to say this, bro. First things first. Sucks if you're a Cleveland fan in any capacity. Sucks if you're a Cleveland fan. Sucks if you're a Giants fan, bro. Your team's in a bad spot, and y'all got the hardest schedule. Trash. You hate it. You hate to see it. But when I think about it, guys, and I'm looking at this, honestly, I'm not mad. I'm not mad at having, according to them, the 7th easiest schedule in the season. But I also think they're taking into account the moves that Carolina has made. And like I've told y'all, I genuinely feel Carolina can go I feel they can go 10-7, 9-8, 8-9 with this schedule. I'm more so hoping for the 10-7, 9-8 outcome, but if they go 8-9, I'm not going to be too mad about that either. So in my mind, that's a pretty fair ranking. I think that is a fair assessment of our schedule and of our team and where we're sitting at. But guys, you let me know in the comment section below what y'all think about Jimmy Horn and how he's going to be utilized this season. Would y'all blame Dave Canales for Leggett's struggles because he couldn't decide on a quarterback last year? And also, where do y'all think our schedule should be ranked? Do you think we're too high? Do you think we're too low? Do you think we're right in the middle? Because at the end of the day, guys, what do I know? I'm just a skinny brother with 2 tats. Peace. Much love to all of you, Panther Nation. Take care, later days, and as always, keep pounding. I'll see you next time.